Part 38, Why Prince Duan and their guards are so powerful. On the vast grasslands, a group of men and horses walked slowly. They wore left jackets, short jackets and leather boots, and wore bows and arrows with scimitars on their waists. Everyone was brave and armed with excellent weapons. This was a team of barbarians. In the middle of the cavalry, there was a luxurious carriage, and coughing noises could be heard from time to time, which swayed gently in the wind. "Where are you?" The coughing sound in the carriage stopped for a while, and a questioning voice came. A personal soldier replied from outside the carriage, "Reporting to my king, we will be able to reach Shichong Gate in half a day. We have already sent news to Cha-Cha-Chi, and they should come to receive us soon." It was the team of Tuoba Ren, the king of Hunal. He took over the task of Tuoba Hong, the king of Khan. In the royal court, when everything was ready, he started to travel east. This time, he must do it perfectly, in order to prove that he is capable of doing everything well even if he is sick all the year round. Therefore, even though Tuoba Hong regretted it after being aggressive and planned to replace him, how could he know that Tuoba Ren was stubborn with him and had to go in person? Tuoba Hong couldn't make him change his mind no matter what, and in the end, he had no choice but to follow his will. So, there was this mighty team. Tuoba Ren felt a little sullen and hated his body for not being able to live up to his expectations. If 5 years ago, one horse and one whip would have gone across the entire Swashi grassland, he would have galloped recklessly on horseback as his world. Now, he panted every 3 steps and coughed every 5 steps. No matter where he goes, he can only stay in a small carriage, and he will never experience the pleasure of galloping and chasing the wind. Tuoba Ren stopped talking, and there were several more muffled coughs in the carriage. There was a hint of unbearable expression on the face of the personal soldier. He had followed the king for so many years, and he naturally knew the pain in the king's heart. The arrow from the beginning still has lingering fears when I think about it now. If it weren't for this arrow, their king would be an eagle in the sky. Now that the eagle has its wings broken, it still yearns for the vast sky. I don't know how long it took, and a ride came ahead, bringing news that General Cha-Cha-Chi was waiting in front to welcome him. The personal soldier passed the news to Tuoba Ren. He was silent for a moment, and then said in a deep voice, "I see." The cold wind was cold, and the horse snorted, kept stroking its hooves, and turned around in the same place. The Juju-bred horse is extraordinary. Sitting on it is a rough man with a high nose and deep eyes, typical of Swashi military generals. The reins in his hand tightened slightly, and the uneasy horse was quiet in his hand. This person is the General Cha-Cha-Chi who received the news and came to greet Tuoba Ren. A group of black shadows slowly approached in the distance. Cha-Cha-Chi's eyes were a little impatient. His face was gloomy, and there was a look of contempt in his eyes. "Ah, this is their famous Swashi king Hunal, a young hero who killed wolves at the age of 5 and hunted tigers at the age of 8. Now it's a waste that can't even mount a horse." Cha-Cha-Chi rubs the reins in his palms, If it weren't for such a layer of identity, King Hunal should have changed hands long ago. The people on the grasslands have always worshipped heroes, and no matter what they are always inhabited by the capable ones. The former hero has now become crippled people. How can he die and how can he still enjoy the glory of the past? Although Cha-Cha-Chi has criticism in his heart, the proper etiquette should still be followed. When Tuoba Ren's carriage approached, Cha-Cha-Chi got off his horse, took a few steps forward, put his fist on his chest, bowed and said, "Cha-Cha-Chi welcomes the king." Only then did a weak voice come out, "Cough cough, I know. Go directly to the camp of the Central Army. Cough cough cough." Cha-Cha-Chi's face was unhappy, so the king's personal soldier stepped forward and explained in a low voice, "General Cha-Cha-Chi. The king has been seriously ill in the past few days, and he can't see the wind, so please forgive me." Cha-Cha-Chi pulled a smile from the corner of his mouth. "Is it okay for the king? The weather is getting colder and colder. It's best to keep the wind out of the cold. There are only tents and yurts in this ghost place. And it's not good for the king's body." He deliberately said loudly, just to let Tuoba Ren know that it's better not to come here to make trouble. The soldier's face was slightly embarrassed, but he glanced at the carriage and saw that there was no movement, so he breathed a sigh of relief, changed the subject and said, "I also ask General Cha-Cha-Chi to lead the way." Cha-Cha-Chi also stared at the curtain of the carriage, and he didn't see any movement for a long time. The personal soldier returned to the carriage and called out to the king in a low voice. Tuoba Ren's dull voice came out, "Follow." The carriage moved slowly until it entered the central army camp. And then stopped. The curtain of the carriage was lifted, and a bony hand stretched out, and then the wrapped thin man in a thick fox fur cloak. Cha-Cha-Chi was a little stunned. The former goshawk, the former hero, the former heaven's favored son, turned out to be like this. He felt a little bored in his heart. If this person was himself and suffered such a setback, I'm afraid that he would not have the courage to live any longer. Thinking like this, the body has already preceded the brain, and he reaches out to help him. Tuoba Ren glanced at him lightly, but turned his hand and put it on the bodyguard. Cha-Cha-Chi held the air, and his face was a little unbearable, but it was not easy to attack, so he had to withdraw his hand embarrassingly. Entering the big tent, several braziers have already been lit inside, and the big tent is baked warmly. Tuoba Ren slowly let out a sigh of relief and stepped directly to the top seat. Cough, cough. You have worked hard here. Cough. After everyone was seated, Tuoba Ren opened his mouth, but the moment he opened his mouth, there was a heart-wrenching cough. Those who can enter the army tent are the backbone of the generals, or the veteran generals who have already achieved success, or the young generals who have been promoted with outstanding talents. Gathering together at this time, seeing Tuoba Ren like this, they were filled with emotion. There are veteran generals who regret the goshawk's broken wings. And there are young generals who have admired and worshipped for a long time and are determined to become a hero like King Hunnel. Tuoba Ren was a former hero of the Shuishi country. No one knew about him. He was a hero who was admired by many young men on the grasslands. Cough, cough. Do you guys know why this king is here? Tuoba Ren asked after drinking a mouthful of hot water, barely suppressing the cough in his throat. Everyone looked at each other in dismay. They only knew that King Hunnel was coming in person, but they didn't know what it was. Everyone was silent, and Tuoba Ren didn't go around the corner, and said directly, "Dayan Emperor assigned Liangzhou to his youngest son. Everyone should know? Everyone has heard about this, and I heard that this prince is crazy stupid person. Think about it. Only people who don't like the emperor will be sent here, right? It doesn't matter if it's alive or dead." Cha-Cha-Chi snorted softly. He is just a stupid prince. He can't be liked by Dayan Emperor. So he was sent here. Why? Didn't King Hunnel make a special trip for a stupid boy? Ha ha ha. I really can't think of such a person. To actually want King Hunnel to drive out. He laughed wantonly. There was contempt in his words, and the implication was self-evident, and it is estimated that only people who deal with such a sick seedling can take action against a foolish person. General Cha-Cha-Chi, what do you mean by that? King Hunnel has his own intentions in coming here. How can you have room for a general to speak up? The person who defended Tuoba Ren immediately stood up and was very unconvinced and said, "This Cha-Cha-Chi acted arrogantly and domineeringly, thinking that he was a hero, but in fact he was just arrogant. Compared with King Hunal, he couldn't even compare a toe. Nuha, what are you? How dare you speak in front of this general? Last time your flying cavalry team was wiped out. Cha-Cha-Chi snorted coldly. Being pinched, Nuha didn't dare to speak again. He was also unlucky. Last time, he sent a flying cavalry team to go deep into the hinterland of Dayan Country, but he encountered the Red Robe Army and was surrounded and annihilated by the Red Robe Army. Not a single one was left. They also learned the news later. However, when the entire army of the flying cavalry was destroyed, someone had to bear it, and the responsibility naturally fell on him as the leader. But he is young and energetic, and he is still a little unconvinced. It is unfortunate for this lord. When the flying cavalry meets the Red Robe Army, who is General Xie? Few people could escape from him. If it wasn't for General Xie of Dayan Country, the goshawk King Hunal of the grassland would have become what he is now. Snort. If you met Cha-Cha-Chi, you might not have the ability to escape with all your tails, right? The tent was silent for a while, but the sword was drawn to the extreme. Crack. Although Tuoba Ren looked ill, how could the eagle on the grasslands not have the blood of a man? He slapped his palm on the desk, and before he spoke, he coughed again. The crowd did not dare to let out the air, and the personal soldier quickly handed over the medicine bottle they carried with them. Unexpectedly, Tuoba Ren waved his hand, rejected the medicine bottle, and asked people to put the medicine bottle away. It was a 3-point poison, and Tuoba Ren naturally understood this. His body knew that it was fundamentally injured, and there was no hope of healing. Medication is only temporary relief, but in the long run, it will make people dependent on drugs. He is rebellious by nature and does not want to hold a medicine jar for the rest of his life, so he generally tolerates it as long as he can. Seeing that he refused to take the medicine again, the soldiers were a little worried, but their king was stubborn. As long as he made a decision, no one could change it. Fortunately, after a heart-wrenching cough, Tuoba Ren finally calmed down, and everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Tuoba Ren looked around, calmed his breath, and then said, "The 14th son of Dayan Emperor, Ming Yu, is the emperor and the youngest son of the Empress Yuan. Domineering, stubborn and wanton, the people in the palace who were victimized by him hated him a lot. And the Dayan Emperor had no choice but to send him far away to Liangzhou, where he was named Prince Duan. These are the news that he specially asked people to inquire about." "That's it?" Cha-Cha-Chi smiled and said, "This is a well-known thing. Did the people sent by the king find out about this kind of news? In fact, there is no need to inquire about it. Long before he came, the frontier was there. The various deeds of Prince Duan have been spread all over the world. Everyone didn't know why. What did King Hunal mean by spending a lot of time? Is it really to deal with an underappreciated idiot?" Tuoba Ren shook his head and coughed again. "Do you think what you have heard is true?" "This?" Someone lowered his head and whispered. Cha-Cha-Chi was impatient. "Your Highness, what do you mean? Could it be that there is another side to this Prince Duan?" Tuoba Ren chuckled. "I don't know if he has another side. But if you say he is not affected by Dayan Emperor's attention is not necessarily." Cough, cough. "How do you say?" Nuha heard the meaning of the king, and asked hurriedly. As the youngest son of Dayan Emperor and Empress Yuan, Prince Duan naturally has a different position in the emperor's mind. "I heard that Prince Duan's conquest of Liangzhou was not sent by Dayan Emperor, but requested by Prince Duan himself." Before Tuoba Ren could finish his words, Cha-Cha-Chi laughed loudly. "Sure enough. You are a fool. Did you ask to come to Liangzhou to die?" "Ha ha ha." Tuoba Ren gave him a cool look. He smiled after a few times. He felt bored, snorted and turned away. Cough, cough. Since Prince Duan is valued by Dayan Emperor, it will be useful to us. Since he has come to Liangzhou, as long as we can grasp this chess piece. Cough. Tuoba Ren didn't say anything. The intent is obvious. Nuha couldn't help but clapped his hands. Yeah. We have to arrest him and negotiate with Dayan Emperor about conditions, gold and silver treasures, etc. Even if Dayan Emperor wants to come to his son, he will not be stingy. Glancing at him, it's so easy to say. Do you think this Prince Duan will stand there for you to catch him for nothing? Nuha scratched his head, and he was right. Prince Duan was in Liangcheng, and if he wanted to catch him, he could only attack Shichong Gate and take Liangcheng. Everyone looked at Tuoba Ren. It was no wonder that Tuoba Ren wanted to take this trip in person. If it was as he said that Dayan Emperor valued this son, as long as he could catch Prince Duan, it would be a great achievement. Humph. It's not certain whether it's true or not. Even if we spend our time catching this fool, Dayan Emperor can really let us take care of it? Dayan Emperor has so many sons, one more is not much. And one less is a lot? Cha-Cha-Chi was very suspicious of Tuoba Ren's words. Wouldn't it be inappropriate to spend a lot of time and money just to catch a foolish prince? Ha ha, Tuoba Ren sneered. This king is determined to win this. General Cha-Cha-Chi doesn't need to get involved if you are afraid. Cha-Cha-Chi stood up abruptly, scratching his neck and said, "Who said that this general is afraid? Just a stupid child. This general is afraid of him?" Tuoba Ren shook his head, judging from the information he inquired about. The other party can never be a stupid person. This king has the latest news. Cough. Not long ago, Prince Duan's guards completely wiped out a medium-strength bandits in Liangzhou. Cough. If Prince Duan didn't have it, it is absolutely impossible to do it with half the ability. They know the situation in Liangzhou better than anyone else. Those bandits are also desperados inside. They often fled immediately after committing the crime, and by the time the garrison arrived, it was too late. As long as the official army goes to encircle and suppress it, as long as there is a little disturbance, they will flee in all directions. Therefore, these thieves and bandits are not slippery, and there is no way for the officials to take them. This is the first time I have heard of a bandits group being wiped out in one fell swoop. Could Prince Duan's guards be more powerful than the garrison? I don't know how it compares to the Red Robe Army. So what? That group of rabbles being wiped out does not prove how strong this Prince Duan's guards army is. The guards army is no more than 500 people at best. Why should there be any fear? Pao Jun counted as the last real army, and there was no one who could see it. He patted his chest and vowed, as long as this general goes on the horse, I will be able to capture it. Nuha poured cold water on him. General Cha-Cha-Chi, Prince Duan is in Liangcheng. Dare to ask how the general was captured alive? Liangcheng captures him alive. Or sneaks into Liangcheng and brings him out without knowing it? I didn't know that General Cha-Cha-Chi had such a great ability. Humph. Just because you can't do it doesn't mean this general can't do it. Nuha, do you dare to gamble? If you lose, you will give your mount to the other party? Why not? About to quarrel. Enough. Tuoba Ren shouted. This is about the interests of Shuishi. How can it be a joke? Seeing Tuoba Ren getting angry, the two stopped and reluctantly shut up. This matter requires everyone's advice and suggestions. If you want to kidnap the prince of Dayan Country in Liangcheng, this matter is more difficult than going to the sky. How can it be settled in a few words? Ming Yu here didn't know that someone put an idea on him and killed a band of bandits. This was an inspiring event, and it didn't take long for it to spread throughout Liangzhou.